Howdy folks, Mark Serbu, gun designer, gun nut. Today I'm going to talk about the RN-50 and
with RN.
Yeah, with RN, who's actually the gun is named after RN, Royal Nonesuch. That's him, Royal Nonesuch.
Me.
So we've got answers for questions people have been asking for a long time, and I just noticed people always put these in backwards.
Yeah, this backwards.
Look at that. There's an actual.
I designed that to go the other direction.
Oh yeah. There's a counter bore in here where the head of this thing's supposed to go in. Wait, did I just say that? And people always put it backwards. See the counter bore? See? There's a counter bore. This head fits in that counter bore, and people always end up putting it backwards. I don't know why. It drives me up the wall though. And this is
Put it in backwards.
This is in my shop.
You'll.
So see, look at it
really
now.
Freak 'em out.
See, now it's flush in there. It's beautiful, and this sticks out the other side. And this, okay. So first question you probably have in your mind is, Richard, when you designed this, Mark, when you designed this, did you rip off the Sturmgewehr takedown pin? And the answer is yes, I did. That's it.
That's
it's out
kind of
there now.
neat.
But yeah, I did. I took a 1942 design and I kicked it in the butt, made it bigger. And what's funny is that the little piece of wire in there. Oh, here's one here. There's a little piece of wire that in 2016 America, with the greatest nation on earth, had a really hard time getting this made, and somehow they did it in 1942 Germany while they were getting their butts kicked. Well, they were getting their butts kicked later, but it was designed in 42. So anyway, that was kind of funny and frustrating. And we went through a whole bunch of crap, unbelievable amount of crap to make that. We ended up machining them out of stainless steel sheet for a while. That was very annoying.
Seriously?
Yeah. We actually, in fact, I saw it around here. I'm gonna go grab it. Damn it. Yeah, I just had to show you this because this is crazy. This is the little spring that's inside of here. Like you can see, that lives inside of there. It's kind of a clever design. It's actually not as cool as the Uzi takedown pin design, which I wish I had emulated, and I probably will for future stuff. But anyway, so we get these springs made like 1,000 at a time. But look, this is how we had to do it because the original vendor was slow. So we had this sheet of 17.7 pH stainless steel, and we were actually machining them out, and that's a freaking nightmare. And not only that, once they got machined out of there and carefully deburred and messed with, we had to heat treat them. And everybody knows, oh, it's 17 whatever pH, and you just stick it in the oven at 900 degrees. And no, it's not like that. It's a whole different procedure that is more annoying than you would think, but it involves 1,400 and something degrees, and then a soak in the refrigerator for a bit, and then 900 degrees. Yeah, it's very weird. That's a little aside, but that was one annoying step of getting the RN-50 in production. But some trivia for you too is the original RN, what we call the barrel shroud, is this long. It's pretty long. You can see a weld here and a weld here. And the newer ones, it's only about that long. And there's no actual back part that's welded on. The shroud is here. There's no second weld. I don't know why I even did it like that, but why you did it that way.
Yes.
Oh, there's a question. Richard, did you actually design the RN-50?
Nah.
Wow! Jesus. So I lied to everyone and said, no. It was, how it worked was, and I'm going to show an inset here, the original sketch or model that I made. And what it was is Richard was saying, oh, I'd like to have a break action 50 cal. And he sent me this horrible crayon sketch. It looked like a 3-year-old with some kind of dementia, which, do they get dementia? Anyway, what do you call them? I can't say retard anymore, but basically a three-year-old.
Retard is a correct term though. It's
okay. So basically a 3-year-old retard's drawing. So yeah. And I looked at it and said, okay, let me draw this up in CAD, and I did. And the thing about a true break action, like you think about your break action shotgun, is you've got the barrel here, and you've got the breech here, and when you break it open, there has to be a ton of strength between all the way from here all the way to here. So this has to be huge and beefy. And I got looking at it and doing the calculations, is like, this thing's going to be huge and heavy and expensive, and that's not what I wanted, what we wanted. So I said, hey, you know what? This is kind of like a joke, but let me see if I just put, no. I said, let me just put a cap on there, and let me also just make it from stuff that's kind of around the shop, like the the trigger group for the BFT-50 that we already had. So I said, well, let me just put some side plates on there and make a cap. And Richard did contribute. He contributed the takedown lever. So that's his. And actually, that's the most problematic part of the whole gun. So I'm glad I can blame that on you. Now, it's actually kind of cool. Oh, but yeah, you see, it doesn't lock if you have a cap. You can't see this, but it doesn't lock if the cap is open at all. But
The lever's the coolest part of the gun.
I am changing it on a subsequent design. But and here's some interesting trivia too. Aside from the longer little thingy here, what we call it, the barrel shroud, the original breech cap. If you look at this, you people who have RN-50s, you see how this is it's very short here. The production guns are actually 1/10 of an inch longer here, and the main reason I did that was because I counterbored the thread here to make it easier. Like if you saw some of my earlier videos where I'm trying to get this thing to screw on, it's like it's hard to get it to line up and screw on right. And that's because these threads go all the way to the end. And since I counterbored them at 1/10 of an inch, now you shove it on there and it's got a place for these threads to sit in there, and then you just screw it. It just goes right on a lot easier. And another bit of interesting trivia is this is not heat treated. That's scary, isn't it? Because this cap, it gets 25,000 pounds of force on that surface there. So not being heat treated means it's actually strong enough, but it doesn't have much of a safety factor, and safety factor is important. Yeah, so
Have you measured? Has it bulged at all?
No, it shouldn't, because it's strong enough. It just isn't excessively strong like we like to have gun parts. Gun parts, we like to make them at least 3 or 4 times as strong as they need to be, and this thing's probably like, I don't know, 2 times, maybe 1.5 times as strong, or a safety factor of 1.5 or 2, as we nerds tend to say. What else? So we had some questions from Instagram. One guy was asking if you wanted a 7-inch barreled something. Beardo went and asked some questions for us to go over, but we can't talk about any of it because
Beardo is special.
Yeah, Beardo's kind of disgusting, and if you, I don't know, you guys obviously he raped you during our show.
Well, I don't,
so.
Yeah, it worked! Woo!
And that's,
I don't
that's
hold it against him because he's a product of the system. So
and he's been to war, and he's had bad things happen to him, and plus look at him, he's a maniac.
What the fuck is this, Royal? This is stupid. This is almost as stupid as this fucking slide whistle gun that I fucking stole from you.
So we forgive you, Beardo.
we do. I do.
But I mean, in all fairness, the rape scene was the funniest part of the whole show. So what else? What's some other trivia about the RN-50? The hammer. The hammer was designed about, I think this was probably the 3rd or 4th iteration, and I don't know. I've got like a hammer blind spot. Like the BFT-50A, I think I designed the hammer 9 different times. I'm just not really good at what I do. That's the main problem. I'm kind of dumb and don't pay attention. Were you saying something?
It's not the same hammer as the. Why not?
I gave away some of the original hammers. Actually, the first one, remember, it actually had a little cut in the top. It was funny looking.
Okay.
And I made a handful of it, and it sucks because you make them all, you send them off, get them case hardened, and bring them back, and it's like, I thought this little cutout in the top was going to make it easier to I don't know, put your thumb on to cock it. One thing, why don't you do some talking? That's what I was going to get on.
So when I came down here, the intention wasn't to put this in production right away or anything. It was to just build one, and and then it ended up going into production. So it's pretty cool. But we ended up getting it really close to being done while I was down here, so that kind of spurred him, because if we wouldn't have gotten to that point, he wouldn't have ever finished it, probably.
Because I never finish anything.
He's got literally probably
100.
over 1,000.
No. 100 and something designs.
Dude, I've seen your hard drive and
Look,
how much stuff is on it.
it's not that bad.
ridiculous.
But yeah,
He never finishes anything. Except the four guns that are in production.
yeah. Give me credit for that. God damn it. But yeah, one thing it's an old saying. It says that perfection is the enemy of good enough, and this is a perfect example of that because can you even see that? This is a perfect example of that because it's not perfect. I mean, there's a lot in this design that's it's not really. It wasn't designed to be producible as much as it was just designed to get finished.
It's not production friendly.
Yeah, it's because like some of the side plates are a bit of a pain in the butt, and it's because we're trying to shoehorn in something from another design, the BFG 50 lower. But you know what? It's there. It's out there in the world. There are 1,300 of them, and if I designed it like I like to design stuff, which is forever, then no one would ever have any of these. And people make fun of them. The main thing they make fun of is, hey, why is this thing? Why can't you make interrupted threads? People are like, hey, there's this thing called interrupted threads. Like, come on, I know about interrupted threads, but interrupted threads.
about interrupted
Yeah, I just like how that came out. Like a little troll to go. I know about interrupted threads. Like Jonathan Arthur Senior all of a sudden inhabited my body.
I know about interrupted threads. Frankie, get the money.
So anyway, interrupted threads would be great, except for a couple things. First of all, interrupted threads are a pain in the butt, and you can't learn how to do them. They're impossible to learn about. So that's number one. I couldn't find any info on them, but I modeled them in CAD, and I saw how they should be able to work, and I've actually played around with them a little bit, but they are a pain in the butt. They're not as easy as you think. You don't just thread this in. Well, I don't even want to go into how it's a pain in the butt, but trust me, it's a pain in the butt.
Talk about safety though.
Yes, and the
That's
main thing
important.
is, first thing is, okay, so if you just had this so it's a half turn, take it off, shove it back on. What if you just quarter turn or half turn, whatever, took it off, shoved it on, and then closed it, and you didn't rotate it first? You could just go bam, and the only thing keeping this from blowing up is these two things, and they're not strong enough. This thing will only blow off half your face because these are not strong enough to withstand the 25,000 pounds of force that the 50 BMG round puts on this thing. So anyway, the interrupted thread. So yeah, you could make it so, of course, you've got this keyed to this somehow so that it wouldn't close if you didn't get it rotated in the right position. So, but that's another level of complication, something that I would have taken longer to work on, and who knows if it actually would have made it into production. So this thing was like, we got it to where it was good enough instead of perfect, and we ran with it, and now there are 1,300 and something of them out there, and lots more on order, and people love them. So why mess with a good thing? Yeah, it's a little bit slow and cumbersome, but not that slow and cumbersome. Poor Matt. I didn't tell Matt Demolition Ranch before he shot his that you can just take one of these and sorry about that, Matt. But that's most people know that it's not a big deal. So that's a funny thing. People out there on the internet are always saying, oh yeah, I just saw some recent ones like, yeah, Richard got Serbu into making the single shot. Like people all of a sudden know about the BFG 50A because a few YouTubers are playing with it, but they didn't understand that I've been doing the BFG 50 for like 20 years before that. So they think, oh yeah, Richard did the RN-50 and that's what got Serbu into the single shot. It's like, no, not really. And also the really funny one is Valerie Serbu designed the BFG 50A. That's my favorite internet comment. Think of Valerie designing anything. I mean,
I'm not gonna say anything. I like Valerie. She's alright.
Yeah, I sort of like her. She's okay. She's a brat. No, she's my daughter. What am I gonna say?
He made her that way. It's alright.
I know, it is kind of my fault. So anyway, what else? Is that about it? We blabbed about this enough?
We just wanted to make it a little bit modular with the AR buttstock and the AR pistol grip, obviously, and trigger, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the coolest things that people don't even talk about on this is, yes, you've got your Sturmgewehr takedown pin, which you take it out. Now look at that. That sucker fits in a much smaller space. It can fit in a 36-inch case instead of a giant 52-inch case. And also, if you're one of the maniacs who has an 18-inch barrel, you can fit this thing in a backpack, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've done that. It's cool.
Yeah, you have a 16-inch, which no one else does.
Yeah, I can fit that thing in a backpack and ride my motorcycle to the range, so that's cool.
Another funny trivia, super funny about your 16 inches. I had the upper for his 16-inch gun before I sent it to him. He had serial number 2, and it was just sitting around the shop. And for some stupid reason, it got a live round loaded into it. And I have no. So it was sitting there for like a week with a loaded round, but there were no lowers around for it. So
Yeah.
anyway, at one point I put the lower on. I said, okay, well let me just check this out. Let me try. Let me just drop the hammer on this. So I just kind of aimed it over here, and this is in our old shop. And I pulled the trigger, and it was loaded. And so here's a 16-inch barrel, 50 BMG. I got no eyes, no ears. Boom! It blew through like a table and a bunch of crap. Went into the cinder block
This
wall.
table.
Didn't quite make it out of the building, but it. You go outside, and the building was shifted. It was bad. And the welder, at the time, the guy was like a total weed head. And so here I freaking shoot this thing, and he's like, huh? He didn't bat an eye. That was really weird. But that guy had actually been folded in half before, by the way. I don't know if you ever met him, but yeah, he was folded in half by a tractor or something. That might have been an exaggeration, but I'm not sure. He seemed like he'd been folded in half. You know, you can always tell when someone's been folded in half. They act. those damn
Obviously.
folded in half people, they're just weird. So I guess that's about it. I have no
What-
more folded in half stories.
Is that the barrel I have on there now, or is that the shorter one that I wasn't supposed to have?
I don't know.
The SBR.
Yeah, the pain in the butt of the 16-inch barrel was that we couldn't even get at the nut to tighten
was
the
too
muzzle
short.
brake. Yeah, we could just shorten the handguard, but hey, whatever. There are all kinds of things you can do with these fun items known as death machine firearms.
Mm-hmm.
That's a dumb thing. You know, people think these are evil and awful, and we're just fun-loving nerds who like blowing big holes and stuff. These things are a blast. 50 cal rifles, any guns. Guns are just fun. They're fun and they're wholesome and they're just great. So talk, Richard. People love to hear you talk. They're sick of me.
I can't think of anything you haven't already.
And you're out of
talked
focus. Stand up straight. Stand up straight. Finish your
about.
vegetables.
I'm even with you.
Yeah, he's
I
been
don't
staying with me and he eats kid stuff like peanut butter and jelly and chicken nuggets.
Reese's Puffs.
He has toast for breakfast, with sometimes without butter even. Why are you doing that? You're making terrible noises that are going to sound awful on there.
Is this gonna sound awful too?
No, it's going to make a... Not like this. Wait, move like I hate you. There you go.
Ugh.
How about this?
Ugh.
Wait, and then the... You notice this doesn't have the little slot down the middle.
What's the
All the
slot
subscribe.
for?
Something that I never actually did. It's actually for a little. Here's some trivia that nobody knows. There's a slot in here, and there's a cross hole for a little. It was a piece of metal that has a. It looks like a little hook, and it's got a little cutout for it that engages this pin here. So when you open it up, it just kind of snaps over it, and it keeps like when you're going to load it, it keeps it open. So then to close it, you kind of gotta smack it a bit. So it's an optional thing that I just never got around to making. You heard it here, folks. Heard it here, folks.
You heard it here first, folks.
That's what I was gonna say.
That's the first one, huh?
Yeah,
Wow. Okay.
yeah. It's just been sitting around collecting dust.
Getting rusty.
Not too rusty. Okay, well, thanks for checking out the RN-50 story. What are we gonna call this? The history of the RN. Thanks for checking out the history of the RN-50. I hope you learned something. I hope it was semi-entertaining, and hope I didn't overshadow Richard too much. I mean, we're on Nonesuch too much.
Hopefully y'all aren't asleep by now with Mark talking the whole time.
If they were. Okay, thanks. Catch you next time. Oh wait, does Edwin do that?
Yeah, he
Thanks-
does a little
Thanks
thing.
for watching. I'm not going to salute you because I'm not a Mexican. He thought Edwin was Mexican. We talked about this before.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey, you got to check out this guy. He's this Mexican guy, and he wants to get one of your guns. I'm like, oh yeah, what's the name? Edwin Sarkisian. I'm like, that's not really a Mexican name. It's not like it's.
Well, he
Gold.
hangs out with a Mexican, so
It's like
I just assumed. So I'm sorry, Edwin.
I
but
can't think of any Mexican names right now. Can you think of a Mexican name?
Garcia.
There you go. He's not Edwin Garcia. What's Jazz Booty's last name? I don't even know. Oh, it's Booty. Thanks. Have a good one.
Bye.
Walk off camera.